Hi, let's make some major announcement about the Ukraine war. First, we will talk about the Russian Defense Ministry announced they have basically destroyed 16 Leopard 2 tank. So we are not fully convinced, but seem to be from the battleground and from other sources, the information seems to be fairly accurate, if not totally accurate. Uh, this is a big thing. And we can also digest from other information, like first 2 week of the counteroffensive by Ukraine side. Ukraine lost about 20 to 25% of the armor vehicle and tanks. So from that, like every 2 week, you lost about 20%. So that's about a 16 Leopard tank. So it's roughly reasonable. But that's something very significant because the 16 Leopard tank is about all the Polish and the Portuguese Leopard tanks sent to the Ukraine. So it's a very big number. Uh, the second thing is that I found out a video today talk about the slow pace of the Ukraine counteroffensive. They seen here the two very senior insider on the U.S. side and also on the UK side. They are saying that without like uh, Ukraine basically have almost no possibility. And Gary actually will say here on the screen, I'm very skeptical about any breakthrough or miracle happen that Ukraine can actually change the very slow pace on the counteroffensive. So basically, he's very skeptical. He's basically imply there is almost no possibility Ukraine can win the war. That's pretty sad, but I think his logical is very reasonable because what he said is because the Russian has dominated air power and also they have a very well prepared minefield. Like without air power, like so without air dominance, Ukraine is impossible to break through. So he think also that they, and we can also look at the battlefield that they initially Ukraine seemed to send like a dozen tank and like a armored vehicle trying to attack. Now they are shrinking to about like a two tank or like a three tank and plus one or two armored vehicle. So the scale of attack from the Ukraine side is continually going smaller and smaller. So the chance of breakthrough is also getting smaller and smaller. If we look at the battlefield, we can also see for the last 2 months, the gain on the Ukraine side is very minimum, like only a few kilometer gain. On this side, probably is like a 5 kilometer. The biggest one is this side. But this also comes with a heavy loss on the Ukraine side in terms of armored vehicle and also the personnel. Some of the the brigade almost lost more than half. So that's very significant loss. They also have some gain around the Bakhmut, but it's also very small. You can see the yellow white is the block is what is gained by the Ukraine side. Um, so from this current war, it actually confirmed my earlier opinion that it is almost impossible for because Ukraine side don't have the air dominance, right? The Russian not only have the air dominance, they have the best like anti-air missile system like S-400, S-300, and they have the hypersonic missile, right? So basically, without all the advantages the Russian have, the Ukraine side basically there is no possibility Ukraine can win the war. Uh, I'm I don't want the Ukraine to lose, but the thing here is that we need to be realistic, like as like the professor John Musmir at the University of Chicago said, right? We need to be realistic. Basically, the two sides need to negotiate, have found a settlement. They cannot this way. This is my first summarize my earlier opinion, and my current new opinion is stay the same. I don't think the war will be won by the Ukraine. The another thing is that we just in the last week we just have the Biden is exposed to be paid by like both Hunter Biden and Joe Biden was paid $5 million by the Burisma of the Ukraine company for the Joe Biden to dismiss to force the earlier Ukraine government to dismiss the lawsuit by the Ukraine government. And I actually there was earlier video about that. In summary, you can also go see this like a Sky News Australia video detail all the process. And also right now there is also the former CEO of Burisma actually have many text messages kept about the communication between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and he actually have a recording to prove that he does pay $5 million to Joe Biden and also another $5 million to Hunter Biden. So it seemed to me that the sad thing is that Joe Biden basically is being compromised, and this probably explains why the United States keep sending weapon to Ukraine, almost as if U.S. is fighting the war, like $175 billion. It's probably, in my opinion, is because Biden has some evidence held by the Ukraine, and the Ukraine have the because Ukraine basically have the evidence to destroy Joe Biden and Biden family, right? So Biden seemed to be obliged to send more and more support to Ukraine. That's my guess, but it seemed to be maybe possibly that the Biden family is compromised. That's very sad thing for the United States as well, and also very sad thing for the war because even though there is no possibility of for Ukraine to win the war, but so many Ukraine family and people are being killed, and so many Russian also being killed because both sides, the Ukraine think they have the United States to support them. Russia they cannot lose the war, so nobody want to negotiate for a peaceful settlement. That's very sad. I think that's probably the worst about the politics and about the war in Ukraine. I'm very disappointed that the thing has gone this stalemate. Both sides is fighting to their deaths, basically. Uh, Anyway, thanks for listening. If I'm update the video only not very frequently because I have work to do and I have full-time job. So I don't see many like big change to the wall. But I will continue update when I see some new big improvement or big update. All right, thanks. Bye bye.